"Get out of my diner, you self-entitled fraud!" Hank's voice thundered through Rosie's diner, shattering the cozy hum of Seattle's Pike Street haven. Rain battered the windows as Zara Ellis, a 29-year-old waitress, froze mid-pour, her eyes locked on the man in the corner booth, Keanu Reeves. His dark coat dripped onto the checkered floor, his calm gaze unwavering despite Hank's venom. Whispers erupted among the regulars, and Zara's heart pounded. This night, she sensed, would change everything. The neon sign outside flickered, casting a warm glow over the wet pavement. Rosie's diner, nestled between a used bookstore and a vinyl record shop, was Zara's sanctuary. For 3 years, she'd served coffee and conversation to taxi drivers, students, and retirees, their stories weaving a tapestry of connection. The red vinyl booths and checkered floor screamed nostalgia, but for Zara it was home, a place to forget her student loans and the novel she'd never finished. Tonight, though, the air crackled with tension, like a storm about to break. Zara set the coffee pot down, her hands trembling. She'd recognized Keanu the moment he walked in, his dark hair damp, his presence quiet yet unmistakable. She'd seen every Matrix movie, read about his donations to children's hospitals, and admired his kindness. Hank, a grizzled regular known for his loud opinions, stood glaring at Keanu, his weathered hands clenched. "You think you're better than us?" Hank spat. Zara's stomach twisted. She caught Keanu's eye, a flicker of calm in the chaos, and felt a surge of protectiveness. "Just here for coffee," Keanu said softly, his voice steady. The diner's hum resumed, but eyes lingered. Zara approached his table, forcing a smile. "What can I get you?" she asked, proud her voice didn't shake. "Black coffee and a slice of blueberry pie," he replied, his tired eyes kind. As she turned, Lila, a regular in her 60s, waved her over. "Zara, my granddaughter's in the hospital again," Lila said, her voice shaky. "They're running tests." Zara's heart sank. She squeezed Lila's hand. "She's a fighter, Lila. I'll bring you some tea." "On me." Hank's muttering grew louder, drawing Zara's attention. "Rich celebrities acting like they care," he grumbled to a nearby retiree. "Betty's never worked a real job." Zara bristled. She knew the truth. Keanu had given millions to charity, funded cancer research after his sister's illness, and taken pay cuts to help others. The diner's radio crackled, a news segment about online misinformation catching her ear. "False stories spread faster than truth," the anchor said. Zara's jaw tightened. Hank's lies couldn't go unchecked. As she poured Keanu's coffee, a young couple at a nearby booth snapped a sneaky photo of him, giggling. Zara's protective instincts flared. "Hey, give him some privacy," she said, her tone firm but kind. The couple blushed, pocketing their phone. Keanu nodded slightly, a silent thank you. Zara felt a spark of connection, his humility disarming her. She'd expected arrogance, but he was just human. The bell jingled again, and a group of students entered, their laughter cutting through the tension. Zara exhaled, hoping the night would settle. But Hank wasn't done. "I read about you," he said, pointing at Keanu. "All that charity's just a stunt to look good." The diner hushed. Zara's pulse raced. She glanced at Lila, who shook her head, as if urging her to stay out of it. But Zara couldn't. Keanu didn't deserve this. She stepped toward Hank, her voice low. "You're wrong about him," she said. "He's done more good than you know." Hank's eyes narrowed and the room held its breath. Keanu sipped his coffee, unbothered, but Zara saw gratitude in his glance. She returned to the counter, her mind racing. The radio played on, the anchor warning about snap judgments in the digital age. "Check your sources," the voice urged. Zara nodded to herself. She'd read the stories about Keanu, how he'd given away Matrix earnings to the crew, how he quietly supported strangers. Hank's accusations were baseless, and she wouldn't let them stand. A regular Mr. Patel leaned over. "Zara, you're bold," he whispered, a smile tugging at his lips. "Not everyone would call out Hank." Zara managed a nervous laugh, but her eyes darted to Keanu. He was writing something on a napkin, his focus unbroken. The diner's warmth felt stifling now, the weight of every stare pressing on her. She poured Lila's tea, her hand steadier. "You're a good one, Zara," Lila said. "Don't let Hank get to you." As Zara set the pie before Keanu, he looked up, his voice barely audible. "Thanks for that," he said. "Not many would speak up." Zara's cheeks warmed. "Someone has to," she replied. The bell chimed again, and Rosie, the diner's owner, emerged from the kitchen, her apron flour-streaked. Her sharp eyes scanned the room, landing on Hank, then Zara. "Everything okay out here?" she asked, her tone clipped. Zara nodded, but the knot in her gut tightened. She knew Rosie valued peace, and Hank's wallet above all. This night was far from over. Hank's voice sliced through the diner's uneasy hum, his finger jabbing toward Keanu Reeves. "You're a fake parading around like some saint," he bellowed. Zara Ellis stood frozen, her tray trembling in her hands. The warm glow of Rosie's diner felt cold now, the Seattle rain pounding harder outside. Keanu sat calmly, his coffee untouched, but Zara's chest tightened. She'd called Hank out, and the whole room was watching. Her heart screamed to back down, but her feet stayed rooted. The regulars' whispers grew louder, their eyes darting between Hank and Keanu. Lila, the grandmother with the sick granddaughter, clutched her tea, her face pale. Zara wanted to comfort her, but Hank's rage filled the air. "You think your money makes you better?" he sneered, stepping closer to Keanu's booth. The vinyl seats creaked as customers shifted, some nodding with Hank, others looking uneasy. Zara's throat burned. She knew Hank was wrong. Keanu had given millions to kids' hospitals, taken buses instead of limos, lived humbly despite his fame. Keanu set his cup down, his voice soft but clear. "I'm just a guy, trying to do some good." His humility hit Zara like a wave. She'd read about his sister's cancer battle, how it drove him to fund research quietly. Hank scoffed, his face red. "Good? You're all PR and no heart." The words stung Zara, who'd seen enough online lies to know the damage they caused. Her hands clenched. She couldn't let this slide, not in her diner, her home. "Stop it, Hank," Zara said, her voice louder than she'd planned. The room hushed. "Keanu's helped thousands, hospitals, workers, strangers. You're spreading lies." Her heart pounded, but she stood tall, her kind eyes fierce. Hank spun toward her, his weathered face twisted. "You're defending him, a millionaire who doesn't know struggle?" Zara's stomach churned. She knew struggle. Student loans, late rent, dreams buried under diner shifts. But she also knew truth mattered more than fear. Rosie burst through the kitchen door, her apron streaked with flour, her eyes blazing. "What's this chaos?" she snapped, glaring at Zara. The diner's neon sign buzzed overhead, casting shadows on the checkered floor. Hank pointed at Keanu. "This guy's a fraud, and Zara's causing a scene." Zara's breath caught. She'd only told the truth, but Rosie's scowl said she'd crossed a line. "Zara, enough," Rosie said, her voice low. "Serve your tables." The command stung, but Zara's resolve hardened. She stepped closer to Hank, her voice steady. "I'm not the one causing a scene. You're attacking a man you don't know." She turned to the room, her gaze sweeping over the regulars. "Keanu gave most of his Matrix money to the crew. He funds cancer research because his sister fought it. He doesn't brag, he just acts." The diner was silent save for the rain's drumbeat. Lila's eyes shone with pride, but Hank's sneer didn't waver. "You believe that nonsense?" he mocked. Mr. Patel, a quiet regular, leaned forward. "She's right, Hank. I read about his donations." His support warmed Zara's heart, but Hank's laugh was cold. "You're all fooled by his act," he shouted, slamming his fist on the counter. A coffee mug wobbled, nearly falling. Zara's pulse raced. She glanced at Keanu, who nodded slightly, his expression a mix of gratitude and concern. The room felt like a powder keg, and Zara had lit the fuse. Rosie grabbed Zara's arm, pulling her toward the kitchen. "Office, now!" she hissed. The regulars watched, some whispering, others avoiding Zara's gaze. Lila reached out, her frail hand brushing Zara's. "You're brave, honey," she whispered. Zara managed a weak smile, but dread pooled in her gut. Rosie's office was a cramped room, cluttered with invoices and a flickering bulb. "You're out of line," Rosie said, her voice like steel. "Hank's been here 20 years. His friends keep this place afloat." Zara's eyes stung with tears. "I told the truth, Rosie. Hank's bullying a good man." Rosie crossed her arms. "Truth doesn't pay the bills." "You're done, Zara. Clear your locker tonight." The words hit like a punch. Zara's knees buckled, but she held Rosie's gaze. "You're firing me for doing what's right," she asked, her voice breaking. Rosie's face softened for a split second, then hardened. "I'm saving my business. Go." Zara's world spun. 3 years of laughter, late-night chats, and pie slices, gone in a moment. She stumbled back to the diner, her apron heavy with memories. The regulars avoided her eyes, except Lila, who mouthed, "I'm sorry." Zara grabbed her locker key, her hands shaking. Keanu stood by the counter, his coat slung over his arm. "Zara," he said gently, "I'm sorry this happened. You didn't have to defend me, but you did. That's rare." His words were a lifeline, pulling her from despair. She forced a smile. "Someone had to stand up," she said, her voice hoarse. As Zara gathered her things, Hank sat at the counter, his coffee untouched. He glanced at her, then away, his jaw tight. The bell jingled as Keanu left, the rain swallowing his figure. Zara zipped her jacket, her heart heavy, but unbroken. She'd lost her job, her sanctuary, but she'd held on to something bigger, her integrity. The diner's warmth faded as she stepped into the storm, the neon sign blurring behind her. She didn't know what came next, but she knew she'd done the right thing. Zara Ellis woke to the drip-drip of her apartment's ceiling, a leaky pipe mocking her shattered world. Rain seeped through the cracked plaster, pooling on the floor, just like the despair pooling in her heart. She'd lost her job at Rosie's Diner for defending Keanu Reeves, and now the silence of her tiny Seattle apartment felt suffocating. Her phone buzzed with an unknown number, but she ignored it, assuming it was a bill collector. At 29, with no savings, and dreams of writing fading, Zara felt like she'd bet everything on the truth, and lost. She pulled the blankets tighter, the chill of the morning biting her skin. 3 years at Rosie's had given her a family. Lila's stories, Mr. Patel's quiet smiles, the regulars who knew her name. Now, it was gone. Her eyes stung as she replayed Rosie's words. "You're done." Had standing up for Keanu been worth it? The memory of his grateful nod warmed her, but it didn't pay the rent. She forced herself out of bed, splashing cold water on her face, trying to wash away the doubt. Her phone buzzed again, insistent. Zara sighed, expecting another automated reminder of her overdue loans. Instead, a woman's voice greeted her. "Zara Ellis, this is Clara from Reeves Entertainment." Zara's breath caught, her heart skipping. "Mr. Reeves was moved by your courage last night. We're producing a docuseries about everyday heroes, people who stand up for truth. We'd like you to join as a story consultant." Zara sank onto her couch, the words unreal. "A job? With Keanu's team?" She clutched the phone, her mind racing. "Is this real?" she asked, her voice shaky. Clara's laugh was kind. "Very real. It comes with benefits. A good salary and relocation help if you need it. Interested?" Zara's pulse pounded. She'd never worked in film, never left Seattle, but the offer felt like a lifeline, a chance to reclaim her dreams. "I need to think about it," she said, her voice barely a whisper. Clara agreed to call back in an hour, leaving Zara staring at the leaking ceiling, hope flickering in her chest. She grabbed her laptop, researching Reeves Entertainment. The company was legit, known for meaningful projects. The docuseries Unsung Heroes aimed to spotlight ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Teachers, neighbors, kids fighting injustice. Zara's heart swelled. This was the kind of work she'd dreamed of as a writer, telling stories that mattered. But doubt crept in. What if she wasn't good enough? What if this was a mistake? She closed her eyes, picturing Keanu's quiet thank you in the diner. He'd seen something in her. Maybe she needed to see it too. A knock at the door startled her. Mrs. Chen, her elderly neighbor, stood there, holding a plate of dumplings. "You look like you need these," she said, her eyes crinkling. Zara invited her in, grateful for the company. Over tea, Mrs. Chen shared her own story, how she'd confronted a landlord decades ago for unfair rent hikes, risking eviction. "Standing up costs something," Mrs. Chen said, "but it's how you know who you are." Zara's throat tightened. She hugged Mrs. Chen, the dumplings warm in her hands, her resolve strengthening. Zara's phone rang again. Clara. This time, Zara didn't hesitate. "I'm in," she said, her voice firm. Clara's excitement was infectious, promising details soon. Zara hung up, her heart lighter. She wandered to her bookshelf, pulling out an old journal filled with half-written stories. Her fingers traced the faded ink, memories of her college dreams flooding back. She'd wanted to write about courage, about people who changed the world in small ways. Now she'd be telling those stories, for real. She sat by the window, watching the rain slow to a drizzle. The leak in the ceiling seemed less daunting now, a problem she could face. She thought of Lila, whose granddaughter was fighting in the hospital, and Mr. Patel, who'd backed her against Hank. They'd believed in her, just like Keanu had. Zara's eyes welled up, but these tears felt different, less like loss, more like release. She'd stood up for what was right, and somehow the universe had answered. As she packed her journal, Zara's phone buzzed with a text from Lila. "You're stronger than you know. Come visit soon." Zara smiled, her heart full. The road ahead was uncertain, but for the first time in years she felt alive. She'd lost her job, but she'd gained something bigger, a chance to be the writer, the hero she'd always wanted to be. The leak dripped on, but Zara didn't care. A new chapter was beginning, and she was ready to write it. Zara Ellis stepped off the bus into the heart of Seattle, her new work badge clipped to her jacket, a nervous thrill in her chest. 2 weeks ago she'd been a waitress at Rosie's Diner, fired for defending Keanu Reeves. Now, she was a story consultant for his docu-series, Unsung Heroes. The city buzzed around her, but Zara felt like she was waking from a long sleep. Her first day at Reeves Entertainment loomed, and though fear nibbled at her, hope burned brighter. She was ready to prove herself. The office was a sleek loft with exposed brick and warm lighting, a far cry from the diner's checkered floors. Her team, writers, researchers, and producers greeted her with smiles. "You're the diner hero," a colleague, Mia, teased, her eyes kind. Zara blushed, still unused to the attention. They dove into brainstorming, and Zara found herself speaking up, pitching a story about a nurse who'd saved a patient during a blackout. The room nodded, impressed, and Zara's heart soared. She wasn't just a waitress anymore, she was a storyteller. At lunch, Mia shared a rumor. Rosie's Diner was struggling, with fewer customers since Zara's firing. "Hank's crowd isn't showing up," Mia said, sipping her coffee. Zara's stomach twisted. She hadn't planned to return, but the news stirred something in her. Rosie's had been her home, despite the pain. She needed closure, a chance to face her past. That evening she folded her old uniform, the scent of coffee and pie still clinging to it, and headed to Pike Street. The bell jingled as Zara entered Rosie's, the familiar neon glow washing over her. Every head turned, Lila at her booth, Mr. Patel at the counter, and Hank slouched over his coffee. Rosie froze behind the counter, her face a mix of shock and guilt. "Zara," she stammered, "I didn't expect—" Zara smiled, calm but firm. "I'm here to return this," she said, placing the folded uniform on the counter. "And to thank you. If you hadn't fired me, I wouldn't have my dream job now." Hank shifted, his eyes darting away, his usual bluster gone. Zara's words hung in the air and the diner buzzed with whispers. Lila clapped softly, her smile wide. "You showed him, honey," she said. Rosie's cheeks reddened. "About that night," she began. "I was wrong, Hank's been quieter, and we miss you." Zara's throat tightened. She'd spent years pouring her heart into this place, and hearing Rosie's regret healed a small piece of her hurt. A young waitress, Ellie, approached shyly. "I heard what you did," she said. "It made me speak up when a customer was rude yesterday." Zara's eyes welled up. Her courage had rippled outward, just like Keanu's kindness had inspired her. She hugged Ellie, whispering, "Keep standing up." The moment felt electric, like the diner was hers again, but different, stronger. Mr. Patel raised his glass. "To Zara," he called, and laughter filled the room, drowning out Hank's silence. Rosie cleared her throat. "Zara, if you ever want your job back—" She trailed off, hopeful. Zara shook her head, her voice steady. "I'm where I'm meant to be," she said. "I'm helping tell stories about people who do good, like the ones here." She glanced at Leela, whose granddaughter was recovering, and Mr. Patel, who'd backed her that night. Rosie nodded, a flicker of pride in her eyes. Zara had outgrown the diner, but she'd never forget its lessons. As she stepped toward the door, Hank muttered, "Didn't mean to cause trouble." It wasn't an apology, but it was enough. Zara nodded, letting go of her anger. The bell chimed as she left, the rain now a soft mist. She felt lighter, like she'd shed a heavy coat. Her phone buzzed. A text from Clara. "Premiere's set for next month. You're gonna shine." Zara grinned, the city lights reflecting in her eyes. She wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. Back at work, Zara threw herself into the docu-series, researching heroes like a firefighter who'd saved a family and a kid who'd stopped bullying at school. Each story reminded her of that rainy night when she'd chosen truth over fear. She wrote late into the evenings, her old journal filling with new ideas. Mia noticed her passion. "You're a natural," she said. Zara smiled, her confidence growing. She wasn't the scared waitress anymore. She was a voice for the unsung. One evening, Zara found a note slipped under her office door. It was from Keanu, simple but heartfelt. "Your courage started this, thank you." Tears pricked her eyes. She'd stood up for him, but he'd given her a future. As she walked home, the Seattle skyline glittered, and Zara felt a fire in her soul. She'd faced her past, reclaimed her strength, and was building something bigger. The premiere loomed, a chance to share her heart with the world, and Zara was ready. Zara Ellis stepped into the Seattle theater, her heart racing as the crowd's buzz enveloped her. The premiere of Unsung Heroes, the docu-series she'd helped create with Keanu Reeves' team, was about to begin. The marquee glowed with the title, and Zara, once a waitress at Rosie's Diner, felt like she'd stepped into a dream. Her journey from that rainy night when she'd lost her job defending Keanu had led her here, to a night that would echo beyond her own life. She smoothed her dress, ready to see her work shine. The theater filled with faces, producers, locals, and even familiar ones from the diner. Zara spotted Lila, her eyes bright, her granddaughter now healthy and holding her hand. The lights dimmed and Keanu took the stage, his presence humble yet commanding. "This series is about courage," he said, his voice warm. "It started with one person's bravery in a diner. Zara Ellis, you inspired this." The crowd applauded, and Zara's cheeks burned, tears pricking her eyes. She hadn't expected his words, but they wrapped around her like a hug. The screen lit up with the first story, a teacher who'd bought supplies for her students, her smile radiant despite her own struggles. Zara's heart swelled. She'd researched that story, pouring her soul into every detail. The audience leaned forward, some wiping tears, others nodding. Each segment showcased everyday heroes, a neighbor shoveling snow for the elderly, a teen standing up to bullies, mirroring the kindness Zara had seen in Keanu and the diner's regulars. Her work was touching hearts, just as she'd dreamed. Halfway through, Zara's breath caught. Lila's granddaughter appeared on screen, waving from her hospital bed, a clip Zara had fought to include. Lila squeezed Zara's hand, whispering, "Thank you." The moment felt full circle, tying back to those late-night talks at Rosie's. Zara's eyes drifted to the crowd where Mr. Patel sat, his proud smile catching the light. These were her people, her roots, and now their stories were reaching the world, proving small acts could spark big change. As the final segment ended, Keanu returned, his voice steady. "One last surprise," he said. "Zara Ellis isn't just a consultant, she's our co-producer." The screen flashed her name in bold letters and the audience roared. Zara's jaw dropped, her hands trembling. She'd protested the title, feeling unworthy, but Keanu had insisted. "You earned this," he told her. Now, standing to accept the applause, Zara felt the weight of her journey. From a fired waitress to a storyteller shaping lives. The lights rose, and the crowd swarmed her with praise. A young girl tugged Zara's sleeve. "I want to be brave like you," she said. Zara knelt, her voice soft. "You already are. Just keep doing what's right." The girl beamed, and Zara's heart ached with joy. She thought of that night at Rosie's, when she'd stood up to Hank's lies. It had cost her a job, but it had started a chain reaction, inspiring this series and touching countless. Later, Keanu pulled her aside. "You proved one voice matters," he said, his eyes kind. Zara nodded, tears falling freely now. "You gave me the chance," she replied. As she left the theater, the Seattle sky was clear, stars peeking through. Zara vowed to keep telling stories of courage, to honor the unsung heroes she'd met and the ones yet to come. Her life had changed in a single night, but its impact would ripple forever, a testament to the power of standing up. This story of Zara's courage resonates deeply with me because it shows how standing up for truth, even at great personal cost, can spark unexpected change. I believe small acts of integrity ripple outward, inspiring others, and I bet many of you feel the same. Maybe you faced a moment where speaking up felt risky but right. Or perhaps you think caution is wiser, and that's okay. We all weigh risks differently. What matters is reflecting on how our choices shape the world. I'd love to hear your stories. Have you ever stood up like Zara? Share in the comments, and let's inspire each other. Thank you for watching and supporting this journey of storytelling. If this moved you, hit that like button, subscribe, and follow our channel for more tales of everyday heroes. Your engagement keeps these stories alive,